What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB, back once again. So, I've been following this saga of Terence the Anunnaki Crawford versus Canelo Carrot Top Alvarez. And people have been telling me, YB, you don't know boxing, and etc, etc, etc. So, listen, maybe I don't know boxing. So, I'm going to bring you the opinions of some man who definitely do know boxing. Let's assume I don't know boxing. In fact, let's assume you don't know boxing. Yeah? Let's see what Oleksandr Usyk had to say. So a lot of you man, yeah, who be telling me a lot about Usyk, yeah. Oops, that's what I can say. Hit the bars here. Oleksandr Usyk has declared that he believes Terence Crawford would beat Canelo Carrot Top Alvarez. Terence is my friend, but he's a crazy man. I say Terence wins. Listen, Terence is a different man. Terence works in two stances. He's a very, very, very smart man. So there's the comments from from Usyk. Errol Spence also put his two pennies in. Again, someone who knows boxing. If Crawford wants to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. I'm with it. I'd be going for Bud. I don't know if he'd win or lose, but if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. He's chasing greatness. So again, you can say, well, Errol Spence is biased because he got whooped by Crawford. He'd like to think Crawford. Imagine if Crawford goes on to beat Canelo. It makes him look a lot better, right? But still, sometimes things can go the other way, where it's like, oh, I want to see him get his ass beat. I want to see him fail. But one bar I want to pick up on Errol Spence's lyric is where he says, if anybody can pull it off, it's Bud. Now, I used to be a Terence Crawford hater. I just didn't think he'd fought no one. One thing Crawford does do, he turns up. And he turns up in a way where he doesn't chase it. You don't see Crawford like... He doesn't choke, essentially. He doesn't want it too much. He wants it just the right amount. He's able to remain completely composed despite that. And not only composed, but he has what the greats have. Rising to his best performance. Under the lights. Yeah? He's supposed to get beat by Spence. Spence was the favourite, the small favourite. Spence is the career 147 pounder. Crawford's coming up from 135. Crawford's a small guy. Yeah? And he goes in there and has his career best performance. That's what I think Carrot Top would get. Carrot Top's certainly gone over the hill now. No one can ever tell me. I like Carrot Top. Carrot Top's up there. Apart from his heart, apart from the fact that he bottled out actually having a Mexican style fight with Bivol. Technically speaking, watching him plug forward with his hands up and banging hooks and whatnot, he's probably my favourite fighter. Or certainly up there. I got Crawford. Crawford's dynamic, but Crawford and Canelo and Madrimov, them three are the ones that are in my mind. So I like him. But he's over the hill. Whether you like him or not, no one can tell me he's getting better. There was a stage, it looked like he was getting better. He's over that hill now. Yeah? The Munguia fight, he was getting punched up for the first 3 rounds. And normally, historically, Canelo is known as the guy who starts fast. He was much more steady Eddie. Maybe that's a kind of strategic choice, but it wasn't a consistent steady Eddie. It's not like he was consistently putting it on Munguia in the back straight. It was a close fight. It wasn't an Alvarez runaway, I don't believe. And Munguia is a 154 pounder coming up. So, who's done nothing, but all Munguia has is a lot of heart, and he's got good skills as well, but you know what I mean? Munguia is a traditional Mexican style. Canelo isn't. Canelo don't really want to fight like that. Munguia got put down, got back up and carried on fighting. Canelo will never do that. Certainly not now. Not after Bivol broke him. Yeah? Not ever since Bivol rode him like a donkey. And that's what happened in that fight, I've got to be honest with you. I watched it back the other day. Bivol rode that guy like a donkey. Once Carrot Top realised, oh, I can't hurt this guy, he fell off. He didn't want to fight no more. So, that is what it is. But Crawford, there's a reason Turkey wants it. There's a reason Oleksandr Usyk. Most people would sit in here today, pick a fighter who knows boxing, you'd say Usyk, right? And I don't believe you can say, well, he said that he's Terence's friend, so he's going to back his friend. Usyk could have said, well, Terence is my friend, but there's weight divisions for a reason. That's a political answer, right? If you think Canelo's going to win, you don't have to say, oh, Crawford's too small, he'll get knocked out in a round. You say, I hope Terence can win, but there's weight classes for a reason. That's a political response. He out and out said, where is it? I say Terence wins. Listen, Terence is a different man. He is. He's from the other side. Yeah? He's from the god realm. Sorry, he's not from the god realm. He's human, but the genetics he has have been engineered by the Prometheans. The engineers patented genetics, for sure. There's no question about that. You can look into it yourself. He's been genetically modified. So, that is what it is. Yeah? And Canelo, he over the hill. So, it's going to be a clashing of two things. Canelo's even slower. And Crawford's, we haven't even seen his peak yet. I like to think that his peak will probably be the next one. Crawford's next one, we'll find out if he's still getting better or he's started to plateau. And what better fight than see... Oh, I tell you, we're going to see him with Madrimov. The Madrimov fight, we're going to see, has Crawford started to plateau or is he still going up? I'd like to think he plateaus. Well, not sorry, I'd like to think he gets better forever, but statistically speaking, I'd say you're going to see him plateau now. I'd have thought. Right, 38, how many times can you keep turning up and looking better than ever? Every fight recently, Crawford's gone in there, he's looked better than last time. And he was in there with a pound for pound number 4. Top 5 pound for pound Errol Spence. And smoked him like he stole something. Terence Crawford made pound for pound top 5 Errol Spence look like any man, right? Spence looked slow. Slow. I've never seen a man look so slow. He was getting hit with shots. Even Spence was like, what is this? This is rigged. Yeah? Also, Bivol. Again, Bivol's now one of the pseudo boxing guys. Bivol's the guy a man who's watched a bit of boxing, who thinks he knows a bit about boxing, will say, oh, Dimitri Bivol. That's Bivol. I like Bivol. Bivol. Yeah? Now, Bivol has said that Crawford needs to respect weight classes a few months ago, but he's also said Terence Crawford. He has Terence Crawford and Usyk, even after the Usyk beating Fury. He has them. I think he even said Crawford was number 1, pound for pound. He then said, well, actually, Usyk or Crawford, whatever way you want it don't matter. But he did say initially Crawford. So he's got Crawford number 1 pound for pound. And he says Crawford's IQ is higher than Alvarez, but he does throw in there, and rightfully so, the weight. And that's all we're talking about here, people, right? Because skill for skill, if Canelo was 147, it wouldn't be a conversation. Because Canelo wouldn't have the power. The only question here is, what happens when Canelo hits Crawford? Does he end up like Jermell Charlo or Callum Smith, which is possible, if not arguably likely, right? Callum Smith was out and out 168 pounder. Jermell Charlo is a 6'1", 154 pounder. Crawford's essentially a 135 pounder coming up. So there's a good chance that he goes in there and he just feels that, that's a big old dude punching me. Not my base case. My base case is Crawford has genetics where he has some sort of carbon fiber plating. Yeah, when you hit it, it contracts and it just bounces off. That's how it looked. When I saw him in there with Spence was in there doing the same things he was doing. Pop, pop, wing, wing. And they was just bouncing off him. It looked like, oh my God. There was no... It looked like Errol Spence was fighting in treacle. Just couldn't get nothing. And he was doing the same he normally does. The same shots here that break someone down and make them tired. And they was bouncing off and Crawford was counterpunching. You can't normally counterpunch someone who's hurting you. That's why you never see people like Callum Smith, Jermell Charlo, or anyone. Most people who fight Canelo, they ain't counterpunching nothing because you get hit and you think, oh, I need to stay safe. To counterpunch, you have to be comfortable. You have to feel like I can hold a shot and get something off. When you feel a shot and you're like, oh damn, that was heavy, you ain't looking to do nothing. You're looking to stay safe, right? I think Canelo will hit Crawford, and we'll find out early. We'll know early how the fight's going to go, I believe. It won't be a case of Crawford getting tired, and then sometimes people start well, they start able to hold the shots, and then they get tired. In my opinion, Crawford won't be the one getting tired. So that won't be the case. It'll be a case of, if Crawford goes in there, and holds a shot from Carrot Top, and thinks, it's not all that, it's over for Carrot Top. Carrot Top's only chance is to hit Crawford, and he goes every other way. Because Crawford's much more offensively developed than Bivol. If that makes sense. Bivol held the shot from Carrot Top and wasn't bothered, but he didn't have the second gear. Bivol was in gear 1 the whole way through that fight and just cruised to victory. If Crawford, look at what Crawford did to Spence. Crawford could have easily sat back here, had that piston jab out and just boxed him. He's spiteful. So if Canelo don't get his respect early, I genuinely hate to say it, but he might get stopped. Tell her, no, he won't, because Errol Spence got stopped here because he wanted to fight. He wanted to win. Canelo ain't getting stopped. Not because he's unstoppable, but because he'll go into defense mode. He'll go into, we saw it with Bivol, people. He's smart enough. He knows how not to get stopped. He can just put his gloves on, walk around the ring like this, and stay tight. It's almost impossible to knock out a man like Canelo, yeah, who has a tight defense, who is there just to survive. Canelo was there just to survive in the last 5 rounds against Bivol. 4 or 5 rounds. So I don't believe Crawford could stop him on that basis. But if Canelo comes to fight, yeah, and is loose, like he was with Triple G versus in the second fight maybe, if he comes to fight, he get pieced up. If Crawford, and these are big ifs, right? Crawford might feel it and think, oh damn, I'm shook. And that will change the whole dynamics, as it has done with Callum Smith and with Jamal Charlo, to name 2. Or Plant, backpedaling. But I need to see it. Everyone needs to see it. The fact you've got these top boxing heads, Usyk, Bivol, Spence, saying, not in just them, there's other people too. Timothy Bradley, not as prestige as these 3 cats, but Timothy Bradley. Andre Ward, in fact, let me throw Andre Ward in there. Watch this, people, you'd be surprised. Andre Ward, Crawford, Canelo. I'm sure it was Andre Ward. Here we go, look, you can...
Right now with somebody like Crawford and Spence, they're not interested, and I don't think you could really knock them. And some people say, well, how you gonna say that about Canelo but not Crawford? It's a difference, bro. Terence Crawford fought the best dude in the division. Did he not?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's the wrong one, but anyway, I've watched it. Andre Ward. You can see it here. The title here. I'm not going to play the video, but it's the truth. Andre Ward talks Terence Crawford beating Canelo. I need to watch that still. But yeah, he says the same. Canelo, yeah, he is predictable. You know what he's going to do. He's going to put his gloves up and he's going to plod forward. Again, it's effective 90% of the time. 90% of the time, people can't pressure bust pipes. And Canelo is tight and he digs as well. He's got the best punches, if I'm honest, in the game right now. He's got the most clean, and his uppercut, his hook is clean. Armor piercing. But he's there. Yeah, he's there plodding forward. His feet are a bit slow. Crawford's will have the speed, which is often a myth they sell you, right? Oh, he's lighter, so he's got the speed. Seldomly it works out, right? Otherwise, you'd have a Inoue going up to heavyweight. If it was all about being light and speedy, then that's all it would matter. In reality, power overcomes all them factors. You can be as quick as you want. When you get popped and you can't do damage yourself, it's a problem. But Crawford, so far, we haven't seen a limit to his power, right? We haven't seen it where it's like, okay. And that's what going up in weights should show. Madrimov is a great fighter. Madrimov, he's not as dynamic as Canelo. He doesn't punch as hard, but it's similar principle. His gloves up, Golovkin style. So you begin to get a feel there. Madrimov, solid chin. Kazakhstan, Habib chin. So he's solid. If Crawford gets him out of there, it's a wrap for Carrot Top. He get punched up. That's my base case now. Now, if Crawford's in there, yeah, and he's whacking Madrimov, and it's not making a dent, we've got a problem. He needs to stop. Madrimov's 154. We're talking about Canelo at 168. That's another 2 weight classes. We need to see Crawford stop Madrimov to be confident he can beat Canelo. If we see, there's a chance here, where Crawford's in there with Madrimov, and he's getting hit, and you can tell he's feeling it a bit. If we see any signs that he's starting to feel the power, we're in trouble. You forget about that fight. I'll tell you, I swear to God, after Crawford versus Madrimov, I'll come straight on in and tell people, forget about Canelo. Crawford needs to look similar, if not, bear in mind, pound for pound. Most people would have said, in fact, the odds say, Errol Spence versus Crawford was 50-50. Madrimov versus Crawford, Crawford's a 5-1 favourite. So really, the Spence fight should be a baseline. Madrimov's going to fat people. Madrimov's going to be there to be hit. He's not super elusive. So if a man's there to be hit and you can't get him out of there, that's a problem. Especially when it's a similar style to Canelo. A dude going to be up there with his hands up, plodding forward. So it's fascinating. And this Madrimov fight, 6-1 underdog, 5-1 underdog Madrimov. I wouldn't bet on this fight, for example. I wouldn't put 100 quid on Crawford to make 20 back. I wouldn't do that for this fight. I don't know. I just don't like it. At them odds. This for me is more like a... Even then, I just wouldn't bet on this fight. There's nothing sweet in this fight. And there's only downside from my point of view. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, people. Smash the like button, subscribe. Like off the bell, 100%. Not that about it. Stop it.